I'm Chase Modry, and I'm part of the Data Wall, the Digital Border team. And where I'm taking it from last semester is we were primarily focused on the data analysis side of things, but now we're going into how we can turn that data into an easily accessible visualization platform. And myself and another artist are planning to bring that into a semi-3D space. So instead of going through all these report-style statistical analysis, you're just going to go into the data map, and you can filter however you would like. And it's just very short, simple data points, no overcomplicated analyses. And for someone that doesn't want the data to overwhelm them, it's really pinpoint and brief.
Alright, so this is Data Wall, the Digital Border. What we have on our website and visualization platform is an overview of the total unauthorized and legal immigration points, and that's hosted with our interactive JavaScript chart system, which shows not only by year, but also comparing how the Mexico statistics stack up with the rest of the immigration. So on the top, that's the total immigration, and then the bottom is comparative to the Mexico immigration. And for all of this immigration data, we have what we call our data states. So that is the top 10 states for immigration, and we get those top 10 states from our sources, are located on our resources page. And here you can see our primary resources for unauthorized and legal permanent residents. And for the unauthorized data, we just get it straight from DHS reports and take that and their CSV data, translate it into those state pages that you saw earlier. We also have all of this on GitHub. So you can just go RG Roland Data Wall and find all of their papers, all of our papers, and pretty much the whole website on there. Now, how do we show all this data? Through our JavaScript AmCharts library. So not only can you scroll over and see all the data points, you can also select a multiple ranges of all this data, and it'll zoom in and you can get a closer look at it. You can adjust the sliders and pretty much have a more in-depth feel for all this data. Now, here's the data map, and that's what I was talking about during the video, where you have all of these 10 pages. It's somewhat overcomplicated with the analyses. It's just a lot of data to take in. Now, with the data map made with Unity in Webgl, it loads up our top 10 states, and from the top 10 states, we take just all the same data that we're getting for the interactive charts, and then parsing it through this to just display it in simplified data form. And as it says at the bottom, this is experimental WebGL, so it's a little finicky sometimes. But with this specific state, Texas, we show what we call data view. So this shows all of our filters. Currently, it's the format filter and the legality filter. So that shows we have the total immigration, and then for legality, it's between unauthorized and lawful. So we're going to select lawful, and then I believe, yes, we filter the data. And so instead of showing all of these analyses points and a lot of graphs, and you might really not know how to analyze that, this is for the people that just want to see like, oh, here's the raw data without having to be like, oh wait, we got to find the CSVs and we got to understand what we're looking at. And so this just shows the total nominal and total percentage based on all immigration from Mexico into that state. And so this works with all of the top 10 states. So if we go to Arizona, we're going to sort by the total lawful, and we see that the nominal and percentage values are corresponding to that state's specific data, as it was with Texas. And that, of course, works with all 10 states. And it's, of course, reflected in these graphs right here. And that is data wall, the digital border. Thank you for watching. Anyone have questions?
So as you were going through and compiling all this data, did you have any surprises or learn anything because of the way you visualized it versus seeing the raw data?
Yeah, so something that I guess you could call it a surprise, more of a, I guess you could call it a surprise, where we were running into things where we didn't realize how much we had to, I guess, take care of the data that we were analyzing. So, and putting them into CSV format, there's no like, oh, this column goes here, this column goes here. It's, you have to really like know what you're looking at, and being able to learn how to put that into a visualization thing, that was, it provided, I guess, more complications, less so surprises, but there was a lot of surprises when it came to data analyses, when you see all of the trends, because then you see national trends and see how that reflects throughout the top 10 states.
Any questions, you?
So why did you pick Unity and Webgl for displaying that information?
So Unity and Webgl, primarily, I picked it because it's something that's familiar to myself and familiar to other people that may want to look at how we're visualizing this data. Because in the back end of the data map, it's really using, the most complicated thing about it is probably the file transfer that we use to parse all of our data straight from the repository, but even that isn't too complicated. So having it in, I guess what you could call a more recognizable format is something that also alleviates some of the I guess the ease of accessibility that we're trying to target.
Hi, I'm Bryce Megas.
And I'm Justin Cooper.
We're here to present Punny, our social joke and pun sharing app. The innovation of the app is that we're using the front-facing camera and facial recognition software to judge whether the people who are using it actually laugh or cringe at the jokes and puns that are sharing. Everyone loves a good pun, but we feel that there isn't really any kind of way of sharing them with people outside of the means of like Reddit and things like that, and none of them really show you like an accurate response to the joke or pun.
We also have another game mode to where you match your smile to the percentage of the smile chosen for you.
Kind of like a match the face game mode. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the SIP fair.
So real fast, quick question, show of hands. How many people like puns, jokes, things that make you laugh? Anyone who didn't raise their hand is lying. Everyone likes a good joke or pun. At some point, you've definitely had one heard or said something that made you laugh. Either that or made you cringe, but at some point you got some response from you. What we're trying to do is make a social app to share these puns and jokes and even memes at some point with other people and get a live response to the people you're sharing them to. We're using Effectiva's facial recognition software in order to get the front-facing camera to pick up what the person, like facial expression, is currently. We can share with you the first game mode that we have that we talked about. It's going to be on the tab there. It's blocked by the likes there.
What face is that?
The smile counter. So this is the initial idea that we had for it. It's the bread and butter what we're trying to get done. Right now, it's still only single player because we're still trying to get the networking working with it. But essentially what it does is it generates a joke or a pun for you. And then as you're reading it, it'll judge whether or not you're smiling or laughing, and it'll keep a little smile counter, and it'll keep count. We do also have the builds going that they're looking at there. And then we have the second game mode, which we started doing after developing it, which is Smile Match. So what this will do is it'll generate a random face using the little face guys that we got, and it'll be your job as the game to match it as best you can, and it'll show a little gauge on the side to try to show you how close you are percentage-wise. But yeah, that's mostly our app. Did anyone have any questions?
So while you were going through the build process, what feature or aspect of it changed the most from the initial idea?
Not a whole lot, actually. I think the biggest change was adding the game mode, like another game mode.
Or like a single player mode rather than a network.
Yeah, because initially the whole thing was just going to be multiplayer, and that was it for that first game mode.
Are you secretly collecting screenshots of all the faces people are making?
No, that'd probably be like a future thing you have on your screen.
I can neither confirm nor deny that at this time.
You can email them and say, please put $10,000 in this account or I'm releasing all
No, nothing like that.
So what is the best pun currently in the app?
Well, best, I don't know. My personal favorite is, why does the Swedish Navy have barcodes on their ships?
Why?
It's Scandinavian.
What?
Is that the most cringe-worthy?
I mean, it might be. It's everyone has a different response. So.
What do you call a pile of kittens? A meowton.
Could you also tell us
Generate new ones.
You did the amazing
That'd be me.
programmer architect.
Don't keep passing around.
Two new phones.
Just pass it around?
If you want to see it.
Okay. There you go.
You have to watch it.
Hi, I'm Austin Mittleiter, creator of The Forge. It's a Civ innovation project that is basically a weapon customization thing that you would see with like characters and stuff. I wanted it to be as in-depth as a character one. With this Forge, you can create your own weapons, changing their length, width, scaling based on the piece that you have selected. You can bend the blades however you want to kind of show, like if you wanted to make like a bent katana or something like that. I made this project because I felt like RPG games kind of just throw a list of the same weapons at you, just with different skins. So I thought it'd be fun if the player got to make their own weapon in their own way to fit their play style or how they want to play it. That's about it. So I hope you enjoy the sit there, and see you guys later.
So I was awake for 10 minutes shooting that, so it was great. Currently there's going to be a video playing of me messing around with pieces. But as I said, most RPG games just throw a huge list of weapons at you to play with, and I usually end up picking just one weapon the entire game because I'm just an character, just like, this is mine now. And so I wanted to make it like, if you're only going to play with one weapon, you may as well have the ability to make it yourself. And so this was the goal of the Civ, was I want to build this really cool weapon that's unique to me that I can use for the entire game and have fun with. So currently there's like 11 handles and 3 blades to choose from. Most of the art is free assets with Tristan Hudgens made me a katana for the game, and that's about it. But yeah, it was just, I don't really like how other RPGs give you super in-depth character customization, but never really think about letting the players make their own weapons or things like that to immerse you more, because it's not really immersive to be like, oh, well, I can now have these 600 weapons in my inventory, but I didn't get to choose what they look like, so yeah. Eventually, the aesthetics and how you build your weapon will change how it works and functions, how much damage it does, how much it weighs, stuff like that. There's going to be enchantments. I wasn't able to get the bendability in because that turned out to be a lot harder than I ever thought it could be. Terrible scope. But yeah, I used a bunch of stuff. It saves with JSON, loading and unloading. Getting all that working together was pretty fun. Todd helped me with a bunch of the programming and explained how most of the things that I didn't know worked. There's also the metallic shader, which learning how to mess with their coloring and shading was pretty fun, and the metallics, things like that. So, I guess any questions while the video plays?
How can you forge an epic weapon like that and maybe test 6?
Because I was at like midnight making this video, emailing you, please don't be angry, this video is almost done.
That's
oh yeah, okay, they get, I had a bunch of people test it actually, and Portillo made one, which he didn't name, so I immediately named it Teapot the second he left. So, you know, it's kind of fun. There's also some weapons in there that I made before I fixed the scaling and stuff, so I'm pretty sure you're about to see one of them become purple and pink. The handle got out of scaling, so it just went ridiculously big. And I thought it was funny, so I left it in there. Just to show that not everything's perfect.
Wow.
But that is fixed now, so it doesn't do that anymore.
Monster blade.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Just picturing a guy walk around with
also-
arms, so.
I mean, yeah, like, you're just like, hey, you know what? I don't want to blade, I just want a big handle to beat people with.
So now that you have it working, if you went back and started the project over, what would you do different?
Spend a lot more time working on it, and fix or add more functionality to it, like the enchantments, and find better art assets. And I
Give you points for honesty.
yeah. The next part is just me going through some of the code. This is just changing this. This sets it, the blade length 1, you have to set it all to 1, or else when JSON loads it back in, it's like this tiny little thing like this big and you can't see it. And I was wondering why JSON wasn't loading it, but it just wasn't. These are just for, the blank scripts are just for get components to find later. So like the selectable object, it's like, as long as it has this selectable object on it, that's what you want. Other than that, don't do anything. The hardest thing to program was probably changing the color script Hugh gave me into a UI element, which Todd helped you do. So it's a UI now, so it doesn't get in the way as much. But yeah, other than that, basically everything.
As I was messing with this last night, I noticed, you did do a lot of, or present a lot of really cool features in terms of length, the width, and obviously the height here. Are there any updated iterations you're thinking of considering, such as maybe applying a pivot where you can adjust it for each given area, whether it's kind of like hill, short, and so forth? So if you implement that, I mean, you definitely get a lot of flexibility overall aesthetic view of the entire model.
Yeah, that was, Todd wants me to keep working on programming stuff for him in college to keep up with my skills. So I'm going to be working mostly on this to finish. And
a pivot that you can manipulate, in either area.
That's why I had Tristan putting bones in the blades. The katana he made has bones in it, but I didn't have time to figure out how to access them and use them as the thing to change.
Awesome. A final round of applause for Group B. So we're going to take a quick break. Our next group, Group C, will come back into the theater at around 12:20, so I'll see everyone then. 12:20, Group C. Quick break now.